Welcome back to another episode of Diamond Podcast. I'm your host, local realtor, entrepreneur, community advocate, Alfredo Diamond. Welcome. Today's an exciting day. I've got a special guest here that probably needs no introduction. I think she's wonderful and amazing and just can command a room with her presentations and conducting meetings. I want to welcome to the show the queen. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Miss Robin Henry. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Alfredo, this is just a pleasure for me to be able to do this. I've listened to your podcast before, and you chose me. Yay. Thank you to be a part of this.
Wow. That's amazing. I appreciate that. You know, you've got a lot of exciting things going on. We'll talk about you being retired now, but then, you know, you're going into an acting role. You had some acting roles here recently.
Oh, yes. In retirement, I've tried to stretch myself and continue to learn. And one of the things I've always wanted to do was to act on stage. And my good friend, Becky Jewison, Richmond Civic Theater, was putting together a camp for adults, 1 week, learn a one-act play, musical. Wow. And Becky convinced me, don't worry about singing or dancing or learning your lines. You can take your lines on, stage with you. Oh, okay. And then I realized nobody else was doing that. And I tell you what, it was an experience.
I probably can handle it like that, getting a little bit at a time. But
1 week and trying to learn all of that, I was petrified for an entire week.
I bet you did amazing, though. But how'd you do? You had a show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Don't say no to the USO. I played Miss Wilcox, a civil defense director, and for some of the old Richmondites in your listening area, I channeled Esther Kellner, who was our civil defense director years and years ago. It was a lot of fun. But I even had nightmares. I still have nightmares of going on stage. I made a commitment. And then like 2 days before the performance, I haven't learned one single line. And I'm trying to get myself out of the experience. Yeah. And so it's like, I'm living my nightmare. This is great.
So how'd it go? The lights are on. You're on stage. Tell me about that.
I flubbed up one little
That's
line.
All right.
But what was fun about it, Becky allowed for some creative license, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that was really fun. So I was able to improvise some things. Another dream, doing Steve Martin's Happy Feet. I got up and did that. So,
so you think you see yourself coming out of retirement to start acting?
Yeah.
No. You're so interesting, Robin, and I'm so excited to get to a little more about you. And so kind of take me back, like I had the pleasure to hang out with you about a weekend ago at the Read Adventure course. We had a booth to man, but kind of you shared a little bit about me, but man, take me back. Like, where are you from? From high school, and then what inspired you to go in some of the roles you've taken?
Sure. Lifelong resident of Richmond, and made a conscious decision after college to stay in Richmond. It's my hometown, and I've always felt very strongly about being in Richmond. And it wasn't easy from a job perspective. I graduated from Ball State with a political science degree, and boy, that was marketable. What do you do with it? But eventually, the things that I learned there kind of transcended some of the other jobs that I had. But I came back home after college. I did have an internship at the State House, working for 3 state senators. And immediately I became involved in the political process. And at age 22, I ran for a seat that was vacant by Rick A. House for City Council, 3rd District. So there was a caucus, and I was actually elected at the age of 22, which was an interesting time period. I was only the second woman ever to be on City Council, and I was the youngest.
How did that make you feel to have those two accolades? But then, when you get that call, that notification that you won, I mean, what was that like? feeling?
It was one of those things of I was very shy in high school, and I think being an intern at the State House and was really kind of transformational for me, brought me out of my shell. And it's like, I don't have anything to lose, you've got to put yourself out there and try. And when I won, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I really worked to campaign for that too, I think, and put myself out there. I didn't think a lot about it, but other people did.
Yeah.
There was editorials in the paper at the time of, she shouldn't be on city council because she was a woman.
Oh, wow.
My age, I was wet behind the ears, and I didn't own property. It's like, am I supposed to go buy a goat or something? I don't know. Farm, I don't know. Okay. So it was, there was, I just plowed through some of that stuff. I can remember in one of the city council meetings, one of the council members, I brought up some topic here. Let's try this idea, and I got the, hey, little girl.
Wow.
We've done that before, and didn't work.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, really?
It's terrible.
So yeah.
How'd you eventually break through some of those barriers?
I guess I don't know if I don't think I saw them as barriers. I just kept going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see barriers for myself. And I think I attribute that a lot to my father, who believed that I could do anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that
good
too.
Role model.
So, graduate Ball State, city council at 22.
Yeah.
You're getting involved. You're learning so many different experiences. What's next?
So I did not win the re-election for city council. And at that time, I was working at Paperback Booksmith.
Where?
In the mall. Paperback Booksmith. It was in the mall. I was the record manager. And I got a phone call from Marilyn Williams at K96 and WHON, and she had seen me at different council meetings and everything. She said, hey, we've got an opening for a part-time news person with our station. Would you like to do that? You know everybody in town. You're familiar with government. And I said, yes.
Wow.
It didn't dawn on me at the time that maybe I might be on the air. I thought it was just going to be reporting. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that was an interesting experience. I loved every minute of it. I liked being the first to know things. I loved going to those meetings. It was a fabulous experience, and the people that I worked with were so creative and had so much energy. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And then I had an opportunity to go into sales, which I really appreciated because I think it helped me understand the sales of any kind of company going forward, and it helped me in my HR career going forward. So I did that for a little while, and then I decided I wanted to kind of get back to more community work. And I applied for a job at Leadership Wayne County, which was an organization to train emerging community leaders. And that fulfilled my need for wanting to teach. And then I didn't want to make it political. I wanted to be community-based and grassroots, that anybody could be a leader. And I was scared to death when I did. I was in my 30s. I was following Pat Heine and Mary Jo Clark, who were two dynamic leaders. And it's like, who is this kid going around talking about community leadership and everything? And one of my favorite quotes is from Warren Bennis, who wrote a book on becoming a leader. And he said, becoming a leader is becoming yourself. It's simply that easy, and it's simply that hard. And I had to learn to be myself and not compare myself to others. Wow.
That's great. That's a great way to look at that. You said that anybody can be a leader.
Yes.
That's a little bit different than what I was kind of shared with me, but elaborate on that a little bit. So,
We all have our spheres of influence, and whether we know it or not, and how we project ourselves, how we help each other, set ourselves as mentors. And one of the best parts of my career was towards the end, when I was at Three Rivers as a human resource director, setting up a community leadership program for our employees. Okay. And it was open to any of our team members that they can contribute, not only in the community, but also on their day-to-day work. And that was so rewarding. And I liked that program because you could see their growth over a period of time rather than just, a 6-week course.
Yeah.
That was fun.
But I don't want to just brush over some things. Let's back up track a little bit. There's a lot of impact there. So political, like city council, and then you got to go on the radio role for the news. But then you went into sales. I'm a sales guy. I want to know about that. So what were you selling? Were you selling ads for the radio station?
Yes.
Another person? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And so you talk about, I'm assuming you're talking about you've learned the sales process and that helped you. So what was your sales process like that you learned?
Well, what I appreciated about the mentorship from Dave Stricker, my boss, was that it was about building relationships and making people successful. And I think that's something that, Alfredo, that you do so well. It is meeting those needs and being there and being a partner in that success. Not just selling time or here, buy some ads, but this is what we can do to get your business name out there so more people know about it. And that's what I've appreciated in my career in banking. I believe that's how we approached our relationships with our customers and our members. And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah. So, like with me, for example, or anyone else that you kind of see out there that, if you were given a piece of advice, what would you share with me that a piece of advice that maybe you learned from someone else in your career path that might make me think, she got something there. What would you share with us?
Wow. I think to be open to opportunities. I did not have a clear career path.
I've done a little bit of everything.
It's like, what is this about? But then you would look back and how everything just built on itself.
Yes.
And that's been so rewarding and fun to watch in myself and to others. I like to do a lot of coaching now.
Me too.
That is so much fun and so rewarding, even being retired. One of my favorite books that I used in my career development was What Color is Your Parachute? And I spent a whole summer doing every exercise in that book. It really made you focus on what your skill sets were and to talk about those, what kind of work environment, what are the how you want to structure your day, interview questions, the whole thing. And that's something I normally didn't do. I would read a book and, okay, fine. But I thought, no, let's just do that.
Make sure I get that for later. I want to check that out.
It's a really good book, and it's updated on an annual basis.
Okay.
And after I did that, opportunities that I'd never thought of just kind of popped up. They just were there, and they were always there, but I didn't recognize them as a fit for myself. And that's because I took the time to get to learn about myself and what I would fill my bucket.
Man, so you touched on so many things. You remind me a lot of myself. Like, not saying this was you, but I remember I wasn't really sure where I wanted to be when I was going to school. I just, I got a chance to go to college, and I always want to set myself up to have something to fall back on. But I wasn't going to school to be a doctor or a nurse or anything like that. I just wanted to get my education and wherever it takes me. But you're right. So many experiences that we go through in life and in your career, you just try to take away a little bit from here and there. And sometimes things fall in your lap. So I fell into my job at Comcast. I love doing that.
Why?
I got promoted to a sales development manager, and it was coaching and developing. And it opened my eyes up to a different way to communicate with people, train people, attract people, retain people. And I love doing that. And even now as a realtor, I was so afraid to be, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I was so afraid to not have that weekly check coming in, right?
Oh, and that's hard.
Yeah. So I said to myself, man, where would you be if you worked just as hard for yourself as you did for them, and you take the processes you learned from them and apply it towards what you do now? I do the same thing I was doing as a salesperson there, as the manager there, and apply it to what I do day to day. And I'm still here. So
you're such a people person, Alfredo. And
I'm really reserved though, Robin. But I don't know. Maybe it's me.
You care and you have that empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could be reserved, but it comes through. It comes through.
Wow. That gives me a lot of confidence. But, I see a lot of your path in mine. I've done a little bit of everything. I can relate to so many different people on different levels because I've done so many different experiences. So, like, for example, you were sales and then HR.
Yeah.
That's a department you might manage, but how did that come about?
When it came to business, I always gravitated a little bit to not the sales side, but the people side.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
It really is. And I think with the political science that I had, the leadership Wayne County, again, developing people, and I wanted to do it right. I wanted to. You have to be an advocate for and a supporter of the business, but also your people, and that's what makes an organization great, are the people.
Yeah.
And how could I make a difference doing that? And I taught for a while at IU East as an adjunct. Really enjoyed that. And then I had an opportunity when I was at the City of Richmond. I was in a department called Community Partnerships to kind of bring people together with common goals to work together. And one of those turned out to be the Hope House years ago.
Wow.
It just all of a sudden.
You're involved in that too?
Yeah, initially, yeah. It was kind of an interesting concept. I'm sitting in my office, and for about a couple of months, I kept hearing people talk about addiction issues and that the need to have a facility in Richmond. And I thought, well, maybe we just need to get some people together at the table. That was my role. And those are magical moments when those kind of things happen. And then just let them go off and do their own thing. But you have to start the conversation. But then I had an opportunity to do HR. A good friend of mine had retired, and I jumped at it.
And it would have been West End Bank too, or just
yes,
okay.
With the City of Richmond, and then I went to West End Bank, and then Three Rivers.
So City of Richmond, would that have been with Sally? Or?
That was with Dennis Andrews and Shelley Miller.
Okay. And, we have another connection too. I kind of fish around with people that might remember this program, and we were talking earlier before the show started, and you're kind of a pioneer for the program, but Academy for Young Leaders? Oh,
yeah. That was something that was started by Pat Heine and Mary Jo Clark with Leadership Wayne County. We had programs for adults, which is very similar to Wayne County Leads that the Chamber does.
Yep.
The Academy for Young Leaders, which was for high school students, where they developed their own community projects.
Yep.
And I was a mentor there first, and then the executive director. Loved that program so much.
Yep.
It was scary for the kids to come up with their own projects.
Yeah.
To connect to others. We had a lot of failures, but through those failures, the kids were able to learn and grow from that. And we were just talking before this, we need more opportunities for our youth in this community to a safe place to experiment with their leadership skills and develop that confidence. Yeah. And that they do have something to give.
I was telling you about Angela Coffey and the Crystal Dreams Foundation, and I got to participate in that for a part of a day with her students, and that reminded me a lot of that program. That's why I brought it up, because I just had that fresh experience. But we need more programs like that for the youth and maybe parents too. But that's amazing. So you think about your experience and your involvement in the community for so long. And there's a lot of moving pieces right now in our area with the downtown projects.
Yes.
I mean, how do you feel about everything that's going on, and do you feel like we're moving in the right direction?
I have never been more excited about Richmond and Wayne County's future than I am now. I think all the pieces are coming together. Organizations are working together, and I just see great things. I really do.
Yeah.
It's really hopeful. There's a positive energy.
What's one thing that you hope to see come back that's missing in our county or city?
I always hope for more pride in our community. I think that would be the key.
Pride,
yeah,
more
pride.
sense of pride. Yeah. Thinking about your experiences and the city and how passionate you are, I can tell how passionate you are about the community. I've been in different events. I've been in different board meetings with you. I know you're very passionate about giving, and if you can touch on that, like I want to know why you give. I want to know what you're passionate about, and if you could share. Lastly, if you could share, like, why? Like, how does a person, or maybe there's someone out there that's, they're not sure what to do with some of their finances or extra money. Just how do they set themselves up to where they can give back? Can you talk about your experiences?
Sure. I think just in general, I always had a philosophy of giving of your time, talent, and treasures. And there's a time and place for each one of those. When I was younger, my time was what I gave because that's what I had.
Yeah.
And so immediately when I came back from college, I got involved with different organizations, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Just walk in the door and say, I'd like to help.
Yeah.
People are like, how do I get involved? Just really, it's just showing up.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way to meet different people, be involved in the community. What you give back comes also back to you, which is rewarding. And I've had lifelong friends that are a result of that as well. And then, you just progress as you progress through your career. As far as, being blessed to have a great career, I've been able to, as the years go by, make contributions. Because people did that for me.
Yeah.
Just small things like when I was first starting out, I couldn't afford a ticket to go to some signature event.
Somebody invite you to something.
So somebody would invite me.
Yeah.
So, how do you pay that forward?
Yeah, right.
And so, you start with little things like that. And I do believe that everybody has the opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
Regardless of their financial situation. And to try and make a priority of helping others. So,
are there any specific organizations that get your time now, and then which ones that you may feel that you give to?
I feel very strongly about being if I'm going to be participating in an organization, I have to give both my time and also a financial contribution to whatever. And I think that's expected, especially if you're on the board level. Currently, I'm involved in the Reed Governing Board, the Reed Health Foundation, the Richmond Art Museum. I'm a volunteer for Every Child Can Read, the IU East Advisory Board, the Wayne County Foundation. I just started with that, and Friends Fellowship.
Wow.
So, it's just, I figure you got to be all in.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, it's not about the amount of money by any means.
Okay.
It is what each person can individually give.
And I can tell you probably want to help everybody too, and I feel like that sometimes, but you really can't. I mean, how do you how do you feel? Sometimes I get conflicted with that. So how do you feel? How do you handle that? You know, you're wanting to be there. You're wanting to support this organization. How do you juggle that?
I have my own personal priorities, I guess, and my passions that I feel really strongly about. I guess I also look at the organization, and if what I can give is going to make an impact in some way, how is that impactful? I try to look at that as well.
Now, there's a couple I want to recognize you for your philanthropic efforts. I believe there was IU East.
Yes.
And Reed Health.
Right.
Can you elaborate on? Can you touch on that?
IU East. A couple of years ago, I gave a gift for scholarships. Wow. I have not been blessed by having children of my own, and I was so lucky to have parents that did support me in my education, and what a difference that made in my life. Didn't know it at the time. I did not appreciate it at the time, but you know, I am who I am because they provided me that opportunity, and I wanted in some way to do that for a student. Because I didn't have kids of my own. And then Reed Health, the community has been really good to me, and I have always had Reed Health in my will. And there was an opportunity to be part of a legacy gift where I set up an irrevocable trust saying, yes, I am going to give through my will. And then there is money that is able to be used now to help others. And I thought, you know, if I can, I've already made that commitment in my heart. So why not go ahead and do it now to help others currently?
Man, that's amazing. So unselfish.
And you know, we talked about a little bit about this. It's kind of hard for me to talk about because I don't like to.
I can tell you.
So, but if I can share some of that with others, maybe it will help them see that they too can make a difference in their own way. Whatever it is, we all have that capacity, time, talent, or treasures.
You just never know when you're helping somebody plant a seed and where they're going to go and pay it. Maybe they'll pay it forward. And that's what you do, Robin. Even with me today, you plant seeds, and you're inspiring, you're inspiration to so many people. It's been such a pleasure. So reaching back, if there was one person that you would love to just shout out today and just kind of thank them, maybe they shared some wisdom with you or they coached you, who would you want to shout out today and why?
It would have to be my father. His work ethic, his commitment to community. Excuse me. He was the veteran service officer for a number of years, and I saw in that it wasn't just a job for him. That it was a passion. He was a prisoner of war in World War II, and wanting to be able to make a difference in their lives was really important to him, and wanting to make sure that they received the benefits and the help that they could.
Wow.
Yeah, and he always encouraged me. There wasn't anything I couldn't do. Yeah.
Man, it's been such a pleasure having you here. I got one final thing for you. I got a new question for you. You'll love this. Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Go back to your radio days, Robin. Here you go. If you had a billboard on I-70.
Oh, God.
What message?
The queen.
Yeah, you had a queen.
Yeah.
What message?
I have to explain that, probably.
If you had a billboard on I-70, what message would you put on it?
Whoa.
Yeah, I love this.
Wow.
You're the first person to get this.
Be positive.
Be positive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can choose your attitude.
Yeah.
You really can.
Totally.
And, you know, life hasn't been easy. You know, I struggled, I think, early on with being afraid and being negative, a little bit on the shy side too, and worrying about things. And through being blessed with so many great mentors, I was able to reach that.
Yeah.
And it really does make a difference in one's life.
Wow.
And community.
Such an inspiration. Robin, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show. I'm glad we finally did. Man, you're so cool. I'm glad I got a chance to take a deep dive with you, and it's been a great show. So appreciate you taking your time. You've got a tea time to get. I got to get you out of here.
Yes.
That wraps up another episode of Diamond Podcast. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next time. Have a safe and happy 4th of July.